Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope you all are ready for Christmas and a happy new year and a happy new future for the country. Boy, things are big happenings, big doings. Trump made a speech today, dropped a couple little uh, things to rattle people's cages. And I don't know if you all noticed, but on my thumbnail, I got two pictures. One of Trump where they superimpose him on the guy carrying the podium at the Capitol. Instead, he's got the Panama Canal in his arms. And the other one is Luigi. Luigi's attorney. I'm going to talk about that picture. I got it in my studio. So next time I do a picture show, I'll put it up there because it's a curious picture. But anyways, let's see. We got a lot of people in. How you doing, Todd? Nice to see you. Wayne, how you doing? Yeah. Give me a thumbs up on the way in if you're so inclined. I appreciate it. Rubber Toe, Yvonne, Sissy, Pappy Two Bears, Lone Wolf, how you doing? Elva, Flannel Cheese, KNS Cleanup, Melinda, how you doing, Mac? Mac's there with a peace symbol. Yeah, it's good to see you all. Oh, I got New York in turmoil. I tell you, the more and more you pay attention to these things, the more and more little signals you get, you realize, oh, wow, I see how that's connected to that, and why Mr. T has a little impish smile when he says certain things. You know, he said, isn't that a great idea about no tax on overtime? That came after the no tax on tips. Had a little smile on his face. You know, I really feel, because he has mentioned it again, President McKinley, okay, 25th President of the United States, he made a point to mention there was no income tax. This country ran on tariffs, and they had more money than they knew what to do with. It said that Teddy Roosevelt used the money to build the Panama Canal from what McKinley brought in with his tariffs. Oh, and by the way, McKinley was assassinated. So, and we've talked before in my little Mountain Man stories about how things were back in the day, watching Ronald Reagan try to get the nomination in 1976 over top of Gerald Ford, which he did not achieve. And Gerald Ford lost to Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter gave away the Panama Canal for $1. Ronald Reagan got on the national map by talking about that proposal and condemning that proposal. And Dan Rather interviewed Ronald Reagan. It was his first national interview. Shows you how much power. I believe that was CBS then, with Dan Rather. Because Jimmy Carter was saying, there's a man running around here saying this and saying that. That was the quote was he put in the papers. They described Reagan as a man running around here saying things. And Ronald Reagan said, well, you got to give me equal time. You want to call me a man running around? Let that man sit down and tell you what he's saying. And he interviewed with Dan Rather, and he did a verbal indictment of Jimmy Carter's policies, his actions on Iran, the Iran hostages, the Panama Canal, and a bunch of other screw-ups he did during his administration. And he was off to the races as far as winning the presidency from that point on. Anyway, I'm doing the weave. Gets me back to overtime. Knowing, I know Trump is going to do away with the income tax. That was done to put European powers, okay, in control of this nation's wealth and population. Okay? Control the population. People of our age group, okay? And not, any people younger listening in, you probably read enough of your history to keep pace with us, would have never dreamed back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we'd see a nation so much like cattle, so much like sheep, so busy with the treadmill they live on, spending so much time, two person income in a family as a must now, a must. Okay, when back in the day, Dad went to work and Mom stayed at home. It was a lot of work raising kids. It was a lot of work preparing healthy meals for your kids. It was a lot of work making sure they did their homework. And you knew what kind of homework it was. And if it was garbage, you called the principal and said, "What the hell are you trying to teach my kid?" Well, wait a minute. That never happened because they would have never had the nerve to send homework assignments with the kind of garbage they're pushing now. But we see this new Europe education agenda, the serf system. That's the way Europe ran for well, 1,000 years. Serfs. So for 100 and 30, 40 years, we were the first concept of a nation, an actual nation that did not have a doorway to serfdom, which was a government entity laying claim to the sweat of your brow, where you have to, when you're born, you better make sure you get yourself a lawyer, get yourself an accountant, get yourself a couple of friendly politicians. That makes your life go better. You don't have that type of thing. You just do as you're told. Okay? You pay to live and live to pay. That's what the system has degraded down to. Same system they've had for 1,000 years over in Europe. So anyway, with that being said, that I know in my heart of hearts that we're going to restore this republic. We're going to do away with the 16th Amendment. We're going to throw it in the trash pail. Why not? We did that with prohibition. They always refer to it as prohibition. I don't know what amendment was. You might want to look it up. If it doesn't matter to me, but it was a constitutional amendment. Okay, prohibition. We threw that in the trash. Why can't we throw the 16th Amendment in the trash? So if he's going to do that, and he already said no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, he came up with no tax on overtime. Do you remember when things were going cuckoo in Georgia with the RICO indictment? Who did we see on TV a lot? Who did we see talking about inside ball in the courtroom with the clerk of the court, with the grand jury? You remember who was giving us some inside scoop about Georgia? Newt Gingrich. Because when you're the governor, well, no, he was a senator. He was powerful. He was up there and he was in politics for decades in Georgia. He still had friends, okay? He still had people in the know. What does Trump call his people that are in the know in the White House now? He calls them the surrounders, the ones who are surrounding, not the evil ones, not the, well, in one post, he called them pigs, Marxists and fascists. Not them, but patriots in trusted positions, okay? People you can trust, people that have made their bones and proved their worth. Newt Gingrich had friends. Trump's got friends in the White House right now that know what's going on. Newt Gingrich told us about the grand jury leaks, about the grand jury being ordered, Fannie Willis being ordered to file the charges that day, even though the grand jury had not finished its work, which is illegal to leak about grand juries, illegal to file charges in a courtroom before the grand jury has made a decision. But she did it. Newt Gingrich knew about it way beforehand. Why am I saying that? This is all part of the weave. Now where are we at? New York. New York. You think Mr. T didn't know about the stuff that's bubbling in New York with Eric Adams before it ever happened? You think Mr. T didn't know about this police chief who's resigned and one employee getting $400,000 in overtime? Where do you think his main contact was? Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, top prosecutor since the 70s. Don't think he doesn't have friends and contacts. Don't think he doesn't know what's going on. And if he knows what's going on, Mr. T knows what's going on. So, we all know Trump is king of the trollers, okay? He's king of the trollers. And when he had that little impish smile, he said, isn't that such a good idea? No tax on overtime. Stuff was popping off about that overtime scandal. Because he doesn't have to say no tax on this in particular, no tax on that in particular, because it's all going to be done away with. Personal property. Sadie's getting into some of her, knock something over. But anyway, I don't know. Any of y'all got a cat? Why are they such rascals? But anyway, so here we got this situation with the police chief. And yes, it ties into Luigi. Yes, it ties into Luigi's attorney. Luigi's attorney ties into P. Diddy. Why? Because she's married to the attorney representing P. Diddy. They're all like worms in a clump of dirt. You think this police chief was on board with the Trump agenda? Or do you think he was on board with his force focusing on stupidity, all right, and political arrests and political persecutions and prosecutions? Or do you think he was with the Trump agenda? No, he wasn't with the Trump agenda. He's just a crook like the others that we're dealing with. But I'll tell you one thing. You take a look at that thumbnail picture I put up. She's got crutches. That's Luigi's attorney. She went into court and said she was taken aback. She was prepared to file papers and have a particular hearing, and they're all stunned. Here comes the feds. The feds. I said that they weren't going to let Alvin Bragg keep that case. They weren't going to try to let him polish his badge by I'm the good guy, gonna prosecute this person. It's a big case. Don't interrupt me. Oh, don't worry about it, Fat Alvin. It's not your problem anymore. The feds are taking it. But why would she be shocked? Why would she be stunned and say, I've never seen anything like this. I'm prepared for court on one hearing, and then I find out it's going to be federal charges. But I look at that picture and I see something you put on when you're not supposed to go certain places. Electronic monitoring. Take a look at her back foot. How many times have we seen that? Ellen the Degenerate, Dopey Winfrey, John McStain, Mike Pompeo, Joe Biden. Remember, she was the deputy district attorney for Manhattan till 2021. She's all tied in with that bunch. She's all tied in with that bunch. Diddy is tied in with Epstein, and Epstein was tied into the Podestas, and the Podestas was tied into Hillary Clinton. Oh, you know how us crazy conspiracy theorists are. We're only right about 98% of the time. So I'm sure this is a 2% deal. Part of the 2% deal. Luigi had a therapist. That young girl, Samantha, she had a therapist for years in her 15 short years on this planet. If she had a therapist for half a decade, that was a third of her life. How long did Luigi have a therapist? What were we told about people who are in therapy? I read the Post. They're cultivated, okay? That's another word for GROOM. They're cultivated. And they're considered ammo. Remember that in the Posts? Ammo is expensive. That's what they said in the Posts. It's hard to come by. What did Trump say today when he's talking to Steve Bannon while he was up there? You don't want to run out of ammo. That's not a good thing, right, Steve? Steve Bannon. We fully expected FFs, okay? We fully expected some kind of public thing like the Boston Marathon, BOM beer, right? Something of that kind. We fully expected another school pew-pew. But it takes ammunition, cultivated ammunition, people who have been psychologically compromised that can be activated. I think Trump's letting us know they're running out of ammo as far as these kooks. I hate to call, somebody that's been abused and is suffering, especially someone so young. But that's what they turn them into. What do they think this school program of grabbing the kids up, Are you a boy or a girl? Have you thought about it? Here, let me read this book to you. Look at this picture. Didn't you want somebody to do this to you? Like another boy? Those people belong in freaking jail. All of them. It's a psychological abuse. But for people like Samantha, Luigi, or what was her name, Natalie, it's high level. High level. It's called therapy. So anyway, take a look at that picture with her with the crutches. The foot that's in the back. Bell bottoms. They're either wearing a boot, sweatpants, or bell bottoms to cover their tracking device. Oh, you're crazy. Am I really? Did you see the pictures of Oprah with an ankle bracelet? Did you see pictures of Ellen the Degenerate with an ankle bracelet? What else is what's going on in New York? They had to fire that one guy. I read the memo because he was told to pick up Ghislaine Maxwell and he refused to do it. Trump fired him after he tried to transfer him and he refused to transfer, claiming he had a duty to stay on as chief prosecutor. Well, Trump said, well, you're fired then. You don't want to take your transfer. Out. Weeks after he left, they picked Ghislaine Maxwell up. If Trump hadn't won, Epstein would have never gone back to jail. We'd have never heard anything. The world would not know what an Epstein client list is. Wouldn't know anything about Prince Andrew. Wouldn't know anything about this worldwide group of human traffickers. And it's worse than that. That's a gentle way of saying it. So, this police chief, there's an overtime scandal. Remember the story I told about the little town with all of a sudden started seeing flower pots hanging off of lampposts all over the place? The budget for the so-called town horticulturist tripled. The new town manager, when he left, he took the town horticulturist with him because he was having an affair with the horticulturist, and he pumped up her department. God knows how much overtime she got. He divorced his wife, moved out of town, took the horticulturist with him. Now there's no more flower pots on lampposts, but I guarantee you the town's still spending the money. Just like I was saying with Marion Barry, when he got caught with crack cocaine. It was his girlfriend that had been working for the city for years, going around counting lampposts or looking to see which ones are crooked, which is a job that didn't even exist. He didn't even go to. Six-figure job, just made up out of thin air because that was his side woman. I said it goes on in every little town, every little county. Somebody's getting some kind of perk, picking our pockets some way, somehow. So here we got this tub of lard that's supposed to be a police chief. I don't know if you saw pictures of him. He looks like a tub of dough, just like a blob laying in a bathtub of dough, but he's a police chief. His squeeze has got $400,000 in a year because of her overtime. So she gets investigated. Oh my goodness. She was a victim. S3 actual harassment. But people that have looked at the story, looked at the case, Trump knew that overtime case was coming. Trump knew. Rudy found out. Plenty of people in New York on the right side of things. Name it by right, I mean correct. Come to find out, though, she was having relations, she said, around 10 times. 10 times interacting with the chief. You know what I mean by interacting, right? But her overtime started after they started having playing this little fun and games. Which, wait a minute, I thought you were trading it for the overtime, or told that if you do this, you get overtime. But it was a substantial amount of time between the relationship starting and then she started getting the overtime. So she started getting looked at for taking money she didn't deserve, a huge amount that would probably carry some significant jail time. So that means you got to come up with a story. In my humble opinion, that I was forced into it, I was sexually harassed, I didn't know what else to do. Well, describe how it happened. Verbatim, the story I heard was exactly what Bill Clinton did to Paula Jones. Opened his pants up and said, "Kiss it." That's what she claims the police chief did. But her story doesn't match up. But you know what? Might as well shoot for the stars. Keep the 400,000 as a victim and then sue the city for sexual harassment and get another several $1 million settlement. Who knows? I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I think the truth will come out. But Paula Jones didn't get no 700 or 400,000, and then she had to wait years. Put herself in danger, if you want to know the truth, and get publicly humiliated, excoriated. So anyway, sounds to me like she was reading the papers when Clinton had his case, because that's exactly what she's saying the police chief did. He didn't argue one bit. He just quit. He just quit. And a job like that, chief of police in New York City, that's like hitting the lottery. And walk away from it without a fight. Let me see. I've got to go see who else has come in. Let's see. I can't go back, but so far. Hi, Robin. How you doing? Darla. Tracy, nice to see you. Merry Christmas to you. Wanda says she remembers that. Miss Mindersoo, how you doing? This Justin, nice to see you. Merry Christmas. Yes, a lot of people be saying that now and wearing Trump hats. Ha ha ha. Oh yeah, Melinda, the schools are infected. It's all going to get cleaned out. It's going to be a blowout. Hi, Angela. You're not late. You're right on time. Hi, Andrew. Nice to see you. Anne's here. Christina. Todd. Let's see. All right. So all that stuff is just like a Peyton Place drama. All the dots are going to be connected. You see this bunch of prosecutors and district attorneys in New York, all the dirty stuff, all the connections, like James Comey's daughter being in charge of the video files for the jail where Epstein got it. All this stuff is going to start getting into the consciousness of the general public. Hi, ourselves, Pappy Two Bears. How you doing? And I think it's great. I love it. I love it. You know, and they had some guy out there in front of the courthouse wearing a hat that looked like it was from Mario Brothers game. I guess he was wearing Luigi's hat, sticking up for Luigi. I've already been over that. How we can't have that kind of stuff going on. Anybody that feels like they got the right to come up behind somebody and do that to like I said, what if it's somebody who disagrees with not a little influencer like me? I'm not an influencer, but somebody who has a larger channel and somebody feels, he needs to be silenced because that's a righteous and just thing to do. You know, where does that kind of vigilantism end? It doesn't end. Everybody's got their own gripes, and when they think that they are well within their rights to do that to one group can do it to one person, another group will want to do it to another, and on. It'll never end. And that's not the way we were told to live our lives. Okay, so anyway, does what I'm saying make any sense to you guys? Like I said, if you get a chance, take a look at that little picture of her and her crutches and her bell bottoms covering something up. Merry Christmas to you, Debbie. Merry Christmas to everybody. Everybody. So, hope everybody got their shopping done. You know, this weekend, there were so few people posting. It was hard to find anything to watch. You know, of course, when Mr. T came on, but even when they were doing the AmFest interviews and speeches by other people, I didn't want to watch Stink Uger, even though he was, talking to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's a good person. Nobody agrees with everybody on everything. But the likes of Stink Uger and Dopey David Pac-Man, Andrew, what's his name? Michael Cohen, something or other, that goofball that claims he's an attorney. They're all trying to find relevance. Their audiences are dropping off faster than MSNBC's or The View's. People are just sick of hearing it. And so I'm not going to sit there and listen to Stink Uger talk about, the only thing we really got a big difference on is guns. I think we should do away with guns, but we could at least talk about it like human beings. Like hell. Let me tell you a little something about Stink Uger and the Turks. They started their show years ago, the Young Turks. He's no spring chicken. They ought to change that. You know what they used to talk about? Their show consisted, and I don't like using this kind of terminology. I don't like YouTube standards as far as what children can hear with the push of a button. I don't like people using filthy language. I don't like people using descriptive language that children shouldn't hear, but they do it. They do it. They've been doing it for 15, 20 years. So don't blame me. Snake Uger and the Young Turks, their show consisted of zooming in on pictures of female celebrity crotches. And they would play a game. Guess who's the nickname they had for Kamala Harris? That was how, I'm not kidding you all. That is how this group of liberal influencers, these brilliant political strategists and quote news reporters, now they fancy themselves. That's how they started. By putting a picture of somebody's midsection on the screen and saying, guess whose nickname, they use a nickname for Kamala Harris. When did they change that? When did they start getting involved in politics? Somebody gave them seed money, a couple $1 million. Qatar. Okay? It's a country. Arabic country. Muslim country. Gave them their money and they started doing political commentary and getting the 4 a.m. talking points and joining right in with the liberal garbage. And they've been doing it ever since. That was just before Trump started running for president the first time. They get into UTISL algorithm and get pumped up, have huge numbers, repeating everything that's being said on MSNBC, CNBC, all the screwballs, all of them. They're singing the exact same song, using sarcasm, smarm, slander to fire up the base and stoke vitriol, give people this adrenaline rush. Trump's going to jail any day now. The walls are closing in, and they build this big audience and make a bunch of money. Now, that bubble's popping. They're trying to act like they want to see our side. They want to have a rational conversation now. They want to buddy up. Why? Because they want to promote their channel and they're going to soften their message to try to retain viewers, but they don't believe a damn bit of it. So no, I didn't want to sit there and listen to it. And there wasn't a whole lot going on. There was an interview with Fetterman. Now that's one I believe has opened his eyes, sincerely opened his eyes. He said, I'm not going to work against Trump. I'm not going to root against him. I'm going to be for him. He also said he was going to be for Kash Patel. He said, I never knew that he was a DA. I didn't know his history. I didn't know his experience. I didn't know he had as much on the ball that he has on the ball. But then again, those of you who have been watching my broadcasts will remember a term I used. And I said, remember this term. He called Trump a singular man. a singular man. His influence is singular. So, in a way, I guess you get distinct Uyghurs and all them trying to salvage some kind of an audience, and they're going to alter their radicalism to try to act like they can still fit in. I guess in some way that's a good thing, but I don't buy that it's genuine. I don't have any respect for them because, like I was saying, YouTube is a household app. And young Turks, okay, get young people to tune in and sit there and look at celebrity crotches. When you get into politics, it's all slander and vitriol. Take a long time for me to forgive that. A long time. That's right, Colette. How you doing? That's right. This business of them trying to start a narrative about Elon Musk. What's his name? Scott Jennings? Is that his name? On CNN? He told them they got a lot of nerve. They got a lot of nerve talking about Elon Musk's influence when they've been sucking up to George Soros or what do you call him, a punk or a runt? Alex, the boy? Boy, that CNN panel sat there with their mouth shut when he said that. How are they going to talk about Elon Musk being a billionaire taking over Trump world when Kamala Harris got billions from hundreds of millions from how many different billionaires? Not just Soros. What's the idiot that started LinkedIn? That creep? And she went through $1.5 billion, and they don't know where the hell it went. They can't account for it. We know where it went. Laundered. So yeah, Scott Jennings is. I think they were forced to put him in. And Bill Haggerty, Tennessee senator. He's one I like. Bill Haggerty got on CNN talking to Dana Bash. She's another one I think is being made to participate in truth and reconciliation. All right. She had Senator Haggerty up, and he said, "Thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter, because that's the only way we would have even known what's in the bill." Remember Nancy Pelosi? We got to pass it to find out what's in it. Got to pass it to find out what's in it. That was with the health care. And for all, in case I do have some screwball, well, I won't say screwball. I'll say misguided person that is looking for a different point of view, paying attention to this program. I'll say this, and I guarantee you, 90% of people in the chats right now will agree with what I'm saying. 2010 backwards. It wasn't perfect, but our healthcare and insurance programs were a hell of a sight better than they are now. They were affordable. You had quicker times to see a doctor. Now they pluck your feathers. The bronze plan doesn't give you squat. The deductibles are outrageous. The monthly payments are outrageous. Unless you're flat broke, don't have any income, or disabled, you get MK'D, right? I had a good friend of mine warn me about that years ago. He said, I said, I told a story a long time ago. And a lot of you may have heard it. Some boy that lived with his mother, and he was middle aged. His mother lived to be 90, and nobody ever thought much about him. And he's a nice enough guy, but he was simple. He was simple, and he lived with his mother till he was like 50 plus. She passed away. He's sitting in the house. He doesn't know up from down, never had a checking account, can't read and write. So I told that story. They did a psychological evaluation on him in 2008, I believe it was. They asked him who the president was. He said Ronald Reagan. So anyway, he wasn't all there. He had no way to take care of himself. His mother took care of him. So, like I say, you never know what rolls out of these mountains. So, anyway, I said, well, I was telling a friend of mine, I said, well, I got Joey or whatever. I'm not going to say his real name. I got him on MK'D. So, now you can go to the doctor. My friend said, well, don't let him turn him into a monster man. I said, a monster man? Oh, he's got better coverage than you and me, Junior. He used to call me Junior. He's older, a lot older than me. A lot of you all heard that story too. I had a Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I'm like, he's got better coverage than you and me. He was a millionaire. He had Cadillac health care. He said, he's got better coverage than you and me put together. Don't let him turn him into a monster man. I said, what are you talking about? Well, the gist of it was, he was saying, if a doctor knows it's a guaranteed payment, if there ain't nothing wrong with him, they'll find it. Come in here every month and get this operation or get this drug or get this procedure. To turn you into a monster man. I was wondering about that. I was going to put that in my thumbnail a couple of weeks ago about Luigi. I was listening to a girl who said she had the same back problem as Luigi. She didn't need surgery. Took some discipline, took therapy, but she was able to straighten her back out and live a pretty good life without having a bunch of screws running into her back. Even if that X-ray is real, I don't know. But for somebody with a bad back, he sure in the hell ran the hell out of there, shot that guy in the back, got on e-bikes and changed clothes and jumped on a bus and rode all over Hell's Half Acre, didn't limp or nothing. But anyway, did it turn him into a monster man? Did he have such good coverage? Because hey, the family had plenty of money. They say, oh, you need surgery, instead of what the younger lady had. I'll refer you to a therapist, not the kind that gets in your skull, a physical therapist. And a chiropractor. Not only do they turn you into a monster man for physical procedures, but therapy, psychosomatic drugs, all kinds of stuff. Keeps the money flowing. So maybe they did turn him into a monster man physically and mentally. I don't know. But every single person that commits a heinous act or a mass pew-pew has got a therapist. Every damn single one of them. Start with John Hinckley. Remember him, John Hinckley? One who shot Ronald Reagan? So with Trump coming up, and people are thinking, oh, it's going to be a Sunday afternoon speech with a friendly crowd. He's going to, tell some jokes and tell some stories and repeat the same stuff he did on the campaign trail. What does he come up with? Panama Canal. We're going to take back the Panama Canal. What is the liberal machine going to do now? They're trying to act like Trump is just some kind of chump for Elon. That's not going to fly. Trump is exerting his authority, okay? He's putting out proposals which are actually a plan, not a proposal. It's the way it's going to be. Well, how are they going to try to tear him down with that? You can bet those are his actual plans, okay, is to take back the Panama Canal. What have I been talking about many times? The Monroe Doctrine. I said he was going to bring back the Monroe Doctrine. Last year, he had a picture in the background while he was giving a mini speech talking about Agenda 47 that nobody reported on. They were all trying to focus on later on, Project 2025. He was talking about Agenda 47 a year before that. In the background, he had a picture of Teddy Roosevelt looking at a globe, and the globe was turned to the Western Hemisphere. And Teddy Roosevelt enforced the Monroe Doctrine. We're not going to have foreign philosophies, systems that are adverse to our Constitution, and nothing like that in our hemisphere. We control what's going on in our backyard, okay? Not China, not Russia. We blew a hole in the Monroe Doctrine. For the first hole they blew in the Monroe Doctrine was after they got rid of Kennedy. They didn't do anything about Castro, except for claiming that they did some kind of sideways assassination attempts through the C.I.A. Well, the next biggest thing was the loss of the Panama Canal. Like Trump says, we're the biggest user of the Panama Canal. We built the Panama Canal. 38,000 men died. He made a point to say men. 38,000 men died. And in today's dollars, it costs $1.5 trillion. I remember that. People were really PO'd over that. Carter selling that for $1. But with that dollar, they were supposed to give us certain guarantees, because our national security rides on that canal, military preparedness, going from the Atlantic to the Pacific and vice versa. With military vessels, our economic lifeblood goes through the Panama Canal. And China's got their digits in there screwing around and causing us hardship. The fees are, I had a friend who wanted to go to Australia and wanted to go through the Panama Canal. He went through it. The fees are way higher than it even were even 10 years ago. Plus, you got to bribe the dock hands. I mean, that's a way of life in a lot of Latin American countries. Get pulled over by a cop, it's like, if you can't take a hint, you're going to sit there for 2 hours before you say, here's some greenbacks. Oh, okay, you're clear. Have a good day. You can bribe the cops so you can go on about your day. It's the way it is down there. So, China's got a lot invested in keeping it. But I think the talks with Xi before Trump went out, and I think there's been some behind the scenes communications with them. Something's going to gel together concerning our interests in our hemisphere and China's interests in their territory. Something's going to gel together. I can't say what. There's a lot of different things that can happen. Filipino fishing waters, okay, the what is it, 9-dash line in Asia Pacific. There's Taiwan, some kind of détente with that situation. There's their Bagram Air Base, which is occupied by the Taliban, which is working with China, an hour away from their nuclear bases. Trump's going to want that back, and he'll get it. Hi, Jerry. So there's a lot of pieces in movement, and Trump, again, strongly supported Pete Hegseth, left no doubt about Pete Hegseth. And he's already put out, he's going to do recess appointments. I have to see I'm going to keep talking. I just want to see what's going on with this crazy cat. Whoa. I don't know what's got into her. But anyway, sometimes they get needy. You know that. Got to keep an eye on them. What are you doing? Sound like Frankenstein walking around. You know I still got that bum foot. So everything looks all right. You just never know. When it gets loud, then it gets quiet. You're like, wait a minute. What are you up to? So anyway, big changes are going to come to New York. There are indictments that are going to get unsealed. I know we've been talking about that for a long time. But I went through some posts. And how many, we got to do a video on pardon watches. Look how many people are going to be agitating for a pardon. If they don't get one, they're going to have to sing. I was shocked when I read that Biden had given out 8,000 pardons. Last I checked, it was 4,000. Now it's up to 8. Well, who knows what is now? That was 3 days ago. Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton came out and said he was going to run against for a Senate seat, hinting against Cornyn. Boy, how many in every branch of government, every department, there are people that really want to stop Trump, really want to stop the Trump train. Pennsylvania, we got a woman charged for registering dead and fictitious people to vote. Her employers is a company called New Pennsylvania Project that the Democrats started in 2021. So she's been charged. How many other people are going to get charged? In how many other states? Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania. They're going to be tied to these groups like Act Blue, this New Pennsylvania bunch I just said. They play that game with Roger Stone, with Mike Flynn. We're going to put you away for 20 years. But if you tell on somebody, we'll give you 6 months suspended sentence. They're going to do the same thing with these people. They've got dead to rights on these phony registrations and God knows what else. Because Trump again tripled down on the 2020 election. About that being taken cruelly away from us. So everybody involved in that's going to be sweating and wanting a pardon. Did you hear earlier today? I saw a report about the deputy mayor of Los Angeles has been charged by the FBI for a bomb threat. Guess where? No, they raided his home. FBI raids the home of Los Angeles deputy mayor for allegedly making a bomb threat against his own city hall. And I heard about that. It got posted on Citizens Free Press about, 1 o'clock, noon, something like that. I said, I'll get to see some stories about this. What's going on with this crazy guy? The deputy mayor, that's another big position. And, you're set for life. Like I said, it's like hitting a damn lottery. A do-nothing political position. You don't even have to be a pencil pusher. And they're getting 6 figures and probably stealing enough to be making seven figures. So I said, wow, it's going to be a big story. See what comes out about that. I didn't hear nothing. I got a little 2-minute clip from a local news service. And it says, quote, the mayor takes this matter very seriously. When the threat was reported, LAPD investigated and determined there was no immediate danger. Following additional investigation, LAPD referred the matter to the FBI for further investigation. Then they raided his home. Zach, I added that last part. But this was a deputy mayor of communications put that statement out. But apparently, it was one of a number of bomb threats. I don't know if it's 2, 3, 4, I don't know. But he made it earlier this year. Might have been like Jamal Bowman pulling the fire alarm. I don't know, but somebody phoned it in. So yeah, he's looking at federal charges. Just looking through the comments. Whoa. So maybe there's some stories out there about it, giving a little more information. I don't know. Well, Benjamin, your pardon, because I can't tell if you did or didn't. That's a good thing about these online conversations. We don't got to all get together in the room. So, did you all watch Trump today? He repeated another line that for people like us, it will ground us, get us on the ground, and realize how serious this is. He said, "We've gone up against the most sinister and corrupt forces on the face of the earth." You don't use that kind of language for some lady registering dead people. You don't use that kind of language for some dopey cop cheating on overtime. No, we're involved with a hell of a lot worse, and it's worldwide. And people are putting out a new term. I should have wrote it down, but they're putting a new term out that's could be interpreted as a great awakening. A great awakening. I'll have to write that down. I saw it a couple of times today. Trump said, and it's going to be they say they're going to be making T-shirts and all kinds of stuff that wokeism is BS. And he said the actual, against Reverend Graham's advice, going woke is BS, bull, SH, and that's it. That's right, Debbie. They're coming for our children. Hi, Stanton. How you doing? Well, I tell you, we're in this mini drama. Well, it's not. It's more than a mini drama in New York, and we're seeing how all these threads are tied together. I still maintain that CEO that was gunned down, he was disruptive. He was not playing along with, and probably had in the past, okay? Probably had in the past, and not saying he's a good guy. But if he would have voted for the monopoly, it's real simple. But people who have been indoctrinated into the antiphysal philosophy, they don't see how simple it is. If they would have gotten a monopoly with these health insurance companies, the bottom line is, since Obamacare, and I saw some people agree with me that prior to 2010, we had a pretty decent healthcare system. It wasn't perfect. Somebody like Trump could have straightened it out, no problem. When they nationalized it, 1/3 of our country's economy, our healthcare system is a communist-run system. It's a bureaucratically run system. If they would have been successful and gotten a monopoly, The government controls healthcare. All those companies turning into a big, what they used to call trust. Teddy Roosevelt passed antitrust laws. He was known as a trust buster. What is the definition of fascism? When private companies work hand in glove with the government. That is, look it up. Look it up. The healthcare system would have been totally under the control of the federal government. Private insurance companies forming a monopoly controlled by the bureaucrats. That's the definition of fascism. He voted no, and then he was going to testify on this insider stock trading. You know how many people are looking at conspiracy charges? Remember, Martha Stewart, no conspiracy. She just tried to get out of getting caught utilizing some inside information and saved her, what, 180,000 or something like that. And she fibbed about it. She went down the road for 2 years. We're talking people, or more than that. I don't know. She went to it was a fancy prison, but it was prison. So this guy's going to say, yeah, about those stock trades and what I know. Well, next thing you know, quote, lone wolf. I'm not saying he was a good guy. I'm saying he wasn't playing ball. And he was not with the way the sinister and evil forces on the face of the earth wanted him to play ball. So they had to use some of their ammo. That's something you got to cultivate over years to get somebody where you can activate them. And I read the post on how they do that. I got that video where Trump was talking with that fellow that has that loan or financial institution, Sun something or other, where they said they were, I'm so impressed with Donald Trump and I have so much confidence in Donald Trump. We have pledged $100 billion investment into America because of Donald Trump. $100 billion. That's why Trump was like, you guys do something about that debt ceiling because I got to put money in to bust things open. And once things bust open, the debt is going to drop like a stone. But he's got to, he can't start with it lint in his pockets. That's what they want to do. They want him coming into the Oval Office with theoretical lint in his pockets, no money to work with. That's why they've been dumping all the money to Ukraine. That's why the spending shot up, like that graph I showed you, with billions. So this guy comes across, says he's going to put $100 billion, and Trump, right in front of the crowd, this was a couple of days ago, about 3 days ago, I guess, said, why don't you make it 200 billion. 200, Miss Minister, 200 billion, not 2 billion. 200 billion. And the guy laughed. He said he's such a good negotiator. And I'm going to play that clip one day. It's really cool. But Trump is saying, they're going to invest somewhere between 100 and 200 billion. And let me tell you, they're going to do it, and I'll tell you why. If America falls, the world falls. It's got to win. It's got to be successful. What we've been screwed out of since 1916, how badly it accelerated after the death of JFK and the introduction of the Great Society by Lyndon Baines Johnson, the trillions in wars, social programs, it's incalculable. How many people have suffered from lost their lives due to depression, alcoholism? How many people have been targeted if they fell out of favor with the bureaucrats of the political party? You know, they got targeted. They did that with Spiro Agnew. They did that with Ted Stevens in Alaska. Sick the IRS on them. That, because you lose when they come after you, even if you've done nothing wrong. Like Kamala Harris said, I can ruin somebody's life with the stroke of my pen. They're finished. They're not going to be able to afford an attorney. They're going to have trouble making bail. They're going to lose their job, and they can't pay for their house. She said, I know I got that kind of power. You heard her say it. Same thing if you could sick the IRS on somebody. Unless they're very wealthy and can absorb the cost of accounting fees, forensic accounting, a defense attorney, they're done. So just that one amendment has caused so much psychological stress, opened the door for so much abuse, so much theft, grift, nepotism. How do you control the populace? Fear. Prior to that amendment, it was nobody's damn business what you earned. As long as you did it legal. That's another right reason why Trump puts up the story about Alphonse Capone. All the crimes that man committed, he was involved in gambling, running liquor, prostitution, red rum, Saturday Night Massacre. All the things he did. He goes down on a tax charge. So why? Why? Because everybody around him that was supposed to be in enforcement was corrupt and bought off. Cops, judges, mayors. What has always been a blue blob surrounded by a sea of red for years, hanging down off the Great Lakes, Illinois. Where was Al Capone from? Chicago. I had a back and forth with somebody about Nancy Pelosi. I said their family's from California. They run California. They were with the mafia, the La Cosa Nostra, not any watered down version or wannabes or no, the real. And they were like, no, Google says she not from California. She's born over in Maryland, which I understand that. Al Capone was born in New York. He was the paisan. His family came over to Ellis Island. He migrated to Chicago. He ran Chicago. He ran Illinois. That makes him from Illinois. You're from where you run. Why was he up there? Why did he go to Illinois? I'll tell you why. I'll see if anybody guesses why. But anyway, so Nancy, and she's got her father's side, her mother's side, her grandfather, the family was big. That's how she ended up in California. She may have been born in Maryland, but she ended up in California. That's where her people were. That's where her grandfather was and her father, and they were elbow deep in the mob. Ha ha, Benjamin, you're from Chicago. Okay. Debbie said biggest cities, water. That's close. That's close. I'll tell you who else had a lot going on up there. JFK's daddy. JFK's daddy. See how many remember. Why would you, in the 1930s, want to uproot and go to Chicago? Go to Illinois. We'll see if anybody guesses. I'll tell you in a minute. Give people a chance to guess. You know what? And the other thing Trump mentioned that Chris Wray was out. He's out, and Kash Patel's coming in. Notice one thing. He didn't call Chris Wray a crook. He didn't say he was, he didn't use the same kind of language as he does with Adam Schiff. These flipping judges, the prosecutors, or nothing, just said he's out. I believe Chris Wray is going to be a big, important witness, and that he is a patriot that's been collecting information, because there's nothing he could change until Trump got back in. Todd Gunderson said bootlegging. Yep, Great Lakes. Where'd they get all the whiskey from? Canada. Canada. Tracy said, great connection for running, smuggling between Canada and U.S. That's it. They used to drive Model Ts with skids on them, tracks and skids. When the lakes would freeze over, they'd take these big AA, not Model A, AA trucks. AA means, heavy duty. You could haul casks and crates of liquor back and forth. Well, not forth, from Canada to the U.S. And that's why Jack Kennedy was known as a rum runner. That's where they say the Kennedy fortune came from. Remember the Finger Lakes on the back of Hunter's, the tattoo of the Finger Lakes? I agree, Miss Minshew. Ray's our sleeper guy, one of several, and they have to be careful. They can't, they got to play dumb. They got to play along. They got to say Orange Man bad and all that kind of stuff. The other thing brought up was the spike in autism, in childhood cancer and diseases. He said there's something very wrong. If you can't see it, What the hell's wrong with you? What did that girl say? Well, maybe they're doing a better job of spotting it. Believe me, your kid's got autism. You spot it. Why does it spike? That's going to make a lot of people nervous too. The lid is going to get ripped off of that stinking rotten bucket that they keep all their crap in, and there's no way they're going to stop it. Insane asylums. In the 70s, they started shutting down insane asylums. I got a chart. I'll put it up if I can bring it up out of my studio. It's probably way down there. Got 12,000 charts, pictures, memes, articles. When the asylum populations dropped because they closed them, the prison population shot up correspondingly. And the ones that were not violent, homelessness spiked up. A lot of people are mentally ill that are living under I knew a poor old soul lived under a damn bush, a juniper bush. You know how a juniper bush is? It's like an evergreen, and it's low to the ground, and it branches stay on the ground. You get down on your knees, look in the hole. He had a burrow in there. He had over to the right is where I cook because the smoke goes up through the branches at night. You don't get a bunch of smoke in there. And over on the left is the bedroom. Tarp over underneath there, propped up with sticks in case it rains. He thought he was Napoleon, or I don't know who he thought he was. He was not. He was mentally ill, but he was not a violent person or a mean person. He had some form of paranoid schizophrenia and no treatment. Good thing, because what would they have him do? So anyway, I saw where I told you about what's his name? The guy played Meathead on All in the Family. He lost contracts because of his big mouth and bashing Trump. I told you about all the other people that were losing millions. Where I guess there's a clause in there similar to a morality clause. If you say something insightful, or if you say something slanderous, or open the studios up to any kind of liability, or behave in a way that would tarnish the images of the studio, they used to call it morality clauses. They can just call you up and say, no, you're finished. Carl Reiner. He got a phone call, even though he's in some kind of treatment. The other one's Alec Baldwin. Trigger happy. Alex Baldwin. He got kicked out of a deal. Somebody else. I don't remember. Maybe it'll come to me. Dan Scavino posted a picture of himself when he was giving a speech the other night. He's on cloud nine. He's pumped up. He's positive. What he said in his speech was a quote from Psalm 18:39. For you have armed me with strength to the battle. You have subdued under me those who rose up against me. So the Patriots know where the glory goes, where the thanks goes. Rob Reiner, yep. Thank you, Pappy. I don't know what to think about this, folks. Did you hear this yet? Jack Posobiec put it out about 3 hours ago. A quote from Trump. And this is the other thing that's going to get them to go wild. They're going to talk about how we're colonizing Panama again and how we're going to separate families and how Elon Musk is really running the country. So right when they're in the middle of all that dreaming up crap, this quote comes out from Trump. Quote, for the purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the U.S. feels that the ownership of Greenland is a necessity, unquote. Did any of you all hear that? They're going to go ape. But they don't have a narrative to damage Trump. I think it's going to inspire the American people. They're going to be like I was going to say wet blanket, but more like a turd in a punch bowl. The other thing he brought up, and Tom Homan brought it up too, about the cartels bringing in the precursor to fentanyl through China, sends it to the cartels, is according to Tom Homan. But Trump said, I will immediately designate the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. He said he was going to dismantle and completely destroy the cartels. Tom Homan echoed the exact same thing. America's going to buy Greenland, Miss Mendersu, with all that tariff money. And Governor Trudeau, if he's still around, he won't have to pay all those tariffs. You don't want to pay tariffs when you're a state. President Trump says, with the stroke of my pen on day one, we are going to, capital letters, stop the transgender lunacy. That is another pet peeve of the left. They're going to go nuts. Oh, you're transphobic. You damn right I'm transphobic. What the hell? I want them sitting on my lap or coming in the subway, sitting down next to me. Hi. If people are born, and I'll give you an example. Somebody very famous. Let's see if you can guess it. And it's not anything making fun or anything. It's a medical condition. It's a congenital condition, hermaphroditic. Okay? What star? Take a guess, and not being funny now. Very well-known star was in the biggest blockbuster in history for a time. Had that condition. Now, at some point, you have to cope with that as a parent. Get with a doctor. Of course, now the answer is to go to Planned Parenthood, and they end up in a dumpster after all their body parts get sold. But without that in the picture, you love your child, and there's this issue. You have to talk to the doctor and say, what's the best thing to do here? And I can see that, and they can live a normal life, a competent surgeons, and because there's going to be more of a leaning one way or the other, Let me see some of these guesses. What sounds like an act of war, Todd? Let's see. Yeah, I loved the speech today too, Ann. I loved it because it took a quiet weekend. Nothing was happening. It wasn't hardly anything to watch except these crazy leftist influencers trying to figure out how to retain their audiences, dreaming up crap that's going to keep the clickbait going about Elon Musk. Trump has lost his mind and is babbling, or who the hell knows what they come up with. Oh, Ryan Tyler Cohen, or whatever his name is, came up with some crap about, could Trump be prevented from taking the oath of office because of the 14th Amendment? And Midas Trash Network, what did they come up with? They come up with, let me find it. Oh, it's just nauseating. Trump disqualification, question mark. 14th Amendment, Section 320, I don't know what. It's blocked by the time signal. Oh my gosh, everybody. Oh, Trump could be disqualified. They got 139,000 views in 3 hours. What does the title say? That was what was said on the picture thumbnail. The title thumbnail says, Professor drops capital letters, major update on Trump, capital letters, disqualification, question mark. Big flippin' deal. A dopey commie professor drops something. The same idiots that have been telling us that since the 60s and 70s that the world would be so overpopulated we'd all run out of food, and from the 70s to the 80s that the world is going to freeze by a certain time, from the 90s into the 2000s that the world is going to overheat, the planet has a fever, and 2010 to 2020 climate general change. Okay, professor, what else you got? So anyway, let me get back to this. Jamie Lee Curtis, that's a good guess. I can't confirm that. I've got one I can confirm. Well, 99% confirmed. Lady Gaga's a good guess. I've heard that rumor, but amorphism is somebody born with two sets of plumbing. Mr. Minister said Rob. Araceli, hi Araceli, said Jamie. Oh, China sending fentanyl, yeah. Rosie got lip herpes, yeah. Debbie? Oh no, Jane Fonda, she's still creeping around. She should have been arrested back in the 70s. Oh, she did a segment on being a hermaphrodite. Oh, really, Sissy? I didn't see that. So I guess that's another one. Yeah, hiding under our desk. Hermie. Oh, that's from Harry Potter? No, I'll tell you who it is. And I met, now I'm sitting there talking so much, but Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia of Star Wars. Princess Leia of Star Wars. Her mother was Debbie Reynolds. Debbie Reynolds. And she was born that way. And, you know, kid can't, what are you going to do, you know? I met her, Debbie Reynolds' ex-husband. And I talked to him. I won't say anything about that, but I just say I talked to him. But he didn't get into anything like that. But there was definitely a problem, and how it was handled, I don't think was, you know, didn't work out. So anyway, what's his name? Harrison Ford, who played Han Solo, had relations with her, had fooled with her, and said that she had extra equipment, you know, a dangling participle. And, you know, he said, you know, she was a great person, a lot of laughs and everything and whatever. They had a romantic relationship for some time, and it was just a congenital condition. No, she was married after Eddie Fisher, David. So, yeah, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, you have a child, and there's an issue like that the child can't help it, you know, and in nature things like that happen. So there has to be surgeries, or maybe in this case they elected to do nothing. That may have caused some issue. But anyway, Carrie Fisher, I never read or known her to be any kind of wild activist or hateful person. Somebody took a picture of her at a McDonald's one time. She had a mean look on her face. But, you know, she was older. She had plastic surgery. She trying to eat a burger, and somebody took a picture of her. She was not happy, and it was an unattractive picture. But other than that, I've seen her give speeches for awards. She was funny. She made fun of George Lucas. She's got a quick wit. But you know what? I'm not kidding you. When I watched Star Wars back in 1977, I was wondering, all these kids are like, oh, oh, wow. I didn't really view her as like I would a Farrah Fawcett or, Linda Ronstadt or anything. It wasn't there for me. I felt something was off. And I'm not saying about her as a person. I'm talking about like I naturally knew there was an issue. She had a kind of husky voice. And watch the first Star Wars, and she was kind of had some boyish affect to her. I didn't say she wasn't pretty or wasn't attractive or anything. It just didn't flip my switch. I'll put it that way. So anyway, when you have that kind of a situation, then yes, you can rely on medical advice that has to do with surgery, possibly, and possibly when they're young enough, hormonal treatment to support whichever boat they're going to get in, or maybe in this case, like with, I don't know what the outcome was, but maybe they said this is the way God made her and we're not doing anything. I don't know. So no, I'm not going to look at somebody who they're born with a condition and show them any disdain. They grow up and integrate into society, and they don't harm young ones or influence young ones into some kind of crazy way of thinking. To cope with it in however way they're going to cope with it, medically, psychologically, and morally. Oh, it flipped your switch, David? Yeah. I thought she was kind of boyish. And I turned out I was, according to Harrison Ford, right. So, anyway, with that in mind, this business of Hollywood, all these actors and activists, okay, that's what I'm going to call these characters, that want to be politically active and expect to be actors, activists. They're getting kicked in the rear end and losing contracts right and left. And you see Disney put out that statement that they weren't going to get into that issue anymore, the transgender issue anymore, because they feel the parents are the best ones to handle it and they're getting out of it. Pretty unequivocal statement. Well, that's light at the end of the tunnel. But then what happens? They do a remake of Gladiator. Gladiator, remember with, what's his name? Crow? What's his first name? Whatever his name is. He's from Canada. Anyway, they redo it with Denzel Washington. And everybody's seen Denzel Washington in a movie somewhere. He's a solid actor. And you're like, hey, this is going to be cool, right? Well, I heard they could name it Brokeback Arena, okay? Gladiator 2. Russell Crowe, that's it. Brokeback Arena instead of Gladiator 2. Because why? I guess all the gladiators were gay. I don't know, because that's what they're saying. And the excuse is, well, that's the way they were in Roman times. No, not really. You had you had debauchery and this and that, but it wasn't like the gladiators. Okay, all the gay guys are going to be gladiators. No, I mean you could. They found documentation of a lot of fame. Well, they were famous. They were celebrities, and they got married and they had kids if they lived. So that is something I think is going to flop. I don't know which studio did it, but apparently they were in too deep, and now they've got to release the thing. They've got millions of it, millions of dollars tied up in it. Movies with top end actors cost at least $250 million nowadays, more than that. What am I talking about? Up to they put $1 billion into Star Wars. Some of the new Star Wars stuff that flopped. People don't even talk about it anymore. They don't want to go see it. They don't want to talk about it. It's the biggest, most profitable franchise in history. They destroyed. So anyway, so I'm thinking, oh boy, when are they going to learn? They might learn after this one. But that made me think too. We were told, and this is from a perspective of a black actor, which is the one who played Lamont Sanford on Sanford's Son. He said that he brought up humiliation rituals, which we all know about. We've heard about for a long time, humiliation rituals. He thinks it's more targeted toward black actors. I feel that it is industry wide, but he goes way back. He talks about Flip Wilson back in the 60s and 70s, dressing up like Geraldine, the devil made me do it. All the way up to modern day movies where the actor has to put himself in a dress and dress like a woman or be involved in a gay role as part of a humiliation or an initiation ceremony. I never thought I'd see it with Denzel Washington. I thought, but then again, I haven't seen it. I'm just hearing bits and pieces, and we'll hear what he's got to say about it. I mean, maybe his character wasn't so. I doubt he pulled a scene like Brokeback Mountain. I doubt he pulled a scene like that. We'll find out. We'll find out. But it's just they're going to learn by going broke. Is how they're going to learn. They're going to under the weight of their own illegality. Now, the other thing, real quick, is Donald Trump's transition team seeks to pull U.S. out of WHO, World Health Organization, on day one. Swift exit would remove global health body's main source of funds and damage its ability to tackle emergencies. I think you meant cause emergencies, didn't you? That's right, Colette. There were no girly boys. I'm sure there were a few over the history. So anyway, who is going to be done as far as our funding goes? And I'm going to close up with a post I saved a year ago. Jack Posobiec put this up. It says, This is before all this recent stuff. One of the earliest MK and then ultra subjects was a 17-year-old Harvard math student named, who can guess the name? Who can guess the name? I read it a while back. One of the earliest MK and then ultra subjects was a 17-year-old Harvard math student named, see if anybody gets the name. I get people dropping off when I ask a Mountain Man trivia quiz. No goggling. And about 10 people drop off. No curiosity, no nothing. I mean, why do they even bother coming by? David George says Bobby Fischer might have been. Yeah, who elected the who? Like Colette says. Hi, Justin Bean. How you doing? Facebook guy, Zuckerberg. No, this is going back to the 70s. 60s and 70s. One of the first ones. See, MK and then Ultraman, Ultrawoman has been around really since the 50s. After World War II. Well, thank you, Colette. I want to thank everybody who's been to buy me a coffee. Mike and Bev this week. I appreciate y'all supporting the channel. And I haven't seen Gary in a while, but he helped out this week. I appreciate him. And everybody else that's given in prior weeks and months. I appreciate it very much. I know everybody take care of your peoples for Christmas. That's the main thing. Make sure everybody within your orbit has a Merry Christmas. Oklahoma guy? BOMB guy? No. Okay, I'm going to do my music. Somebody very famous, one of the first people that how can I say it without giving it away? For political purposes, committed a heinous acts. Melinda said Charles Manson. So it's a good guess, but not the one that Poso was talking. Todd got it. Ted Kaczynski. Todd got it. He got the Una Bomber. Una Bomber. And then Hebrew Hammer said Rizgard. Kulinski. No. Ted Kaczynski. Yeah, David. That was one of the first ones. And don't forget, I ought to pull up some sketches that the FBI made of Ted Kaczynski. When they were looking for him, they got eyewitnesses that saw him lay down packages, that they had an artist do a drawing. He was wearing a hoodie before hoodies were ever cool. And I put it next to some of these photos of Luigi. He quoted Ted Kaczynski. He read Ted Kaczynski's writings. He dressed like Kaczynski. He thought he would be like Kaczynski. It worked for Kaczynski way before we had all these cameras, before all this facial recognition crap. Those days are gone. But he didn't realize those days are gone. So, but you put a photograph of him right next to the drawing of Ted Kaczynski and you go, there you have it. So anyway, he's a graduate of the farm. F-A-R-M. All right, folks. So let's see if we got anything else that'll be fun to talk about. Oh, I will read them the next time around. I got these articles concerning the expansion of Gitmo that were written in by the New York Times, December 29th, 2021. Pentagon building new secret courtroom at Guantanamo Bay. And it was written by Carol Rosenberg and published in the New York Times. In case anybody's got any doubts about us conspiracy theorists, right? Right? And I got some other CUE posts. One from November 5th, 2018. You want to hear it? It's a short one. It says, guys, there's rumors exploding all over Twitter that Skippy Podesta committed you-know-what-aside. I'm digging for real sauce on this. So the CUE boards, the 17th letter board, pulled this question out of the pile to answer it. Did Skippy Podesta, you know who I'm talking about, commit you-know-what-aside? Rumors. The response from CUE said, fake news, but both brothers do have pending sealed indictment. Pending sealed indictment. All right, folks. The PODESAs. Oh, let me see, Mr. Sue. I can't. I was reading off another screen. Do I have a pop-up box? Let's see. Pop-up box, by chance. What's a pop-up box? Let's see. Wait a minute. He asked it twice. Let's see. Do I have a pop-up box? And then go farther back up, farther up. I only see it once. And then I can't go any farther. I can only go so far back. I don't know. Here, I got this pop-up box. I'll put Colette up. There, Mountain Man, I love your trivia games. Ha ha ha. You don't only put that up there because I'm vain. Because I got a big head. I got my head so big sometimes I can't walk through the door. I gotta wait till it deflates. Oh, P.O. box. Oh no. Me no P.O. box. That would there's no post office boxes available in parts unknown. We run them off. They're federales. We run them off just like we do revenuers. We don't like no revenuers around our mountains, and we don't like no federales. Don't like no government liquor or none of that. Don't forget certain fake generals, general twins back in the day. Oh, huh. Oh, I appreciate it, Miss Sue. But I'm mystery territory. I believe that, Todd. I believe that, what you're saying there about McCann. So anyway, folks, I'm in parts unknown, Miss Sue. I'm in parts unknown. But I appreciate the notion. Oh, I see it. There it is. P.O. Box. I see it. I see it. All right, folks. So anyway, I'll be going along, but oh my gosh, I went over 2 hours. I'm not supposed to do that. Good gravy. Well, maybe next time I can go on my other platform. I can just put a picture on the screen, so I don't got to do all that editing. And I never get up in time. I can't. A lot of creators, they have people that help them make thumbnails and help them edit their videos and get video clips and crop their pictures and do all that. I got to do everything on my own. I'm a one-man man. So anyway, once I get down, take a look at the picture of the thumbnail. Luigi's attorney on crutches, and tell me she doesn't have something underneath her belt bottom ankle with the leg in the back. Okay, I had to move my type over. I had to move so the letters didn't cover her foot. But I want you all to see that. Is that a orthopedic brace or a something else? So anyway, Miss Sue, be in a good mood. Christmas is coming. Well, no, it's not a boot. She's wearing a shoe. So what it is above her shoe, I believe, on her ankle, it's a ankle bracelet. It's a location. What do they call it? Ankle monitor. Ankle monitor. All right, folks. I don't know. Take a look at it, and you'll see. Come up with your own idea. Maybe she's got taken a couple of packs of cigarettes in the courtroom where nobody can see them. That's what she's got strapped around her ankle. That's what they call them, Miss Sue. Ankle bracelet. Ankle monitor. So anyway, you all have a great night. I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. And I should be going live tomorrow night. And then we're going to go in and have a nice Christmas. But if I don't go live tomorrow night, you all have a very Merry Christmas. And I hope Santa Claus brings you everything you want. And let's keep our fingers crossed for our country, and put up some prayers for Mr. T and all the patriots that are backing him up. And I'll be talking to you soon. So you all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.